InfoSec has become popular. Yeah. So now let me come back to my actual presentation, which has been organized by InfoSec Train. Yeah. Well, so let me start with some basic term IAM domains, right? We are starting. So I want to talk about identity and access management. As you guys, most of you are already aware what is identity and access management. Okay, identity is nothing but a physical human being or a, a physical person or a human being is called as an identity, guys. Okay, so identity and then access management. It's a identity and access management is a fundamental and critical cybersecurity capability to ensure right people has the right access at a right time. Okay, so that is why identity access management has come into the picture, and no, it is everywhere. Any organization you take, so identity and access management is the core area, and you don't find, to add you here, we don't find any layoffs for the IAM no domains. Basically, for the IAM positions, you never ever find some layoffs happening. Okay, mass layoffs or some kind of layoffs happening for this particular tool or these particular products. So this is a kind of area where you could look for a long term career opportunities. So you can even retire after this particular after this IAM domain experiences, I mean to say. Okay, so that's how it's popular, and that is how huge demanded technology it is. Yeah. So yeah, let me come back to the topics for the day. So IAM domains, guys. Okay, so IAM domains. So there are a few things I'm going to cover in this today's agenda as part of IAM domains. Yeah. So identification, first thing, identification, authentication, authorization, and accounting. So that is called as IAA. So we're gonna talk about IAAA, what exactly what we need to identify, what needs to be authenticated, what are the authorizations, and what is the accounting, what is the accountability. Okay, so next we're going to see about the privileged access management. So what is privileged access management? No, what are the things comes under privileged access management? Those things we're going to cover. So next we're going to talk about the identity governance. So what is identity governance? Okay, and know what are the things we come as part of identity governance, what are the things we control on day-to-day basis inside an organization level. And we're going to talk about some of the identity data governance. Okay, so data governance and protections, like common laws, what are the common industry laws which we need to follow in terms of data protection, like GDPR, or lot of things we're gonna discuss about the data protection acts, and lot of insights about the data governance and protection also. So next we will be talking about the prerequisites. Okay, so if you want to upskill your career, you want to make your way for the identity and access management, so you want to become an IAM engineer, then what is your roadmap and what is your prerequisites? Okay, main prerequisite, and what sort of roles and responsibilities you can expect so when you want to become an IAM engineer. So those things, those pointers I would like to highlight here. Now in my presentation, I'll try to bring those pointers for you guys today. Yeah, so these are all the few things I'm going to cover for the day. Yeah. Yeah, so let's kickstart. Let's start with this thing. Okay, so identification, authentication, authorization, and accounting. Okay, so IAA, so this is the first thing I'm going to cover, what are the things we're gonna see here. So some of the information security principles I'm going to talk about, guys. Okay, there is some of the information security principles which we need to follow in terms of confidentiality, integrity, and availability, all of that stuff. And I'm gonna define what is no I'm going to define each term here, like what is authentication, what is authorization, what is identification, all of that. So next I'm going to talk about the least privileges. Okay, so maybe I can talk about least privileges, non-repudiation, job orientation principles. Okay, so how the job orientation, job roles and responsibilities work. Yeah, so in identification, authentication, authorization, and accounting, so these are all the few listed pointers which are all important, I would say. And I will be talking about identity federation, single sign-on, passwords, biometrics. No, these are all the few pointers I would be speaking on this, in the further slides. Okay. Yeah. So let's start with this information security core principles: confidentiality, integrity, and availability, guys. Okay. So confidentiality plays a key role in an organization standard. Okay, so when you want to meet the cybersecurity standards, so you have to maintain the confidentiality of the organization, guys. Okay, so this is confidentiality of the access, confidentiality of the information, information security breaches. So those things, those are the areas you could look for the confidentialities, guys. So next we have the integrity. So when we say integrity term, CIA, so confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So let's talk about integrity here. So integrity means the ethics you follow in an organization, guys. Okay, ethics. So maybe data sharing, sharing shared folder ethics, and doing some kind of malpractice. Okay, so so those are all not at all ethical. Those are all no information security breaches, encouraging information security breaches or risk inside the organization. So those are all no doesn't come under integrity, guys. Okay, integrity in the sense it's pure authenticity, accuracy, and non-repudiation. I would say it's a non-repudiation thing. Okay, so integrity, everyone has to follow. There's some rules and regulations and some ethics in their work culture. So that is where the integrity comes into the picture. So if you are not integrated, so maybe a Scrum model, or maybe a water flow model, or maybe some kind of SDLC processes which you are following in the development life cycle, in the software development life cycle. So you need to maintain the accuracy of the information, integrity, authenticity, and non-repudiation, guys. So that is where the information has to be crisp, and the information has to be right information. So when you speak or when you try to portray something, so be integrated, be no follow the integrity, and be right, no, right person and right professional for every role and responsibility you follow. Okay, so next, availability. So when I say availability, so availability in the sense, so it's a software availability, also I could say high redundancy, or maybe high availability of the deliverables or services which you are offering to the customer, or no, you have to be responsive and all of that. So you need to give your high availability to the customers, guys. So that's all about the availability here. Okay, so confidentiality, integrity, and availability is the core principles of information security. Everyone has to adhere to these principles, and we need to follow these guidelines. Okay, so next, let me talk about IAA in depth: identification, authentication, authorization, and accounting. Yeah, yeah. So there is a set of controls that governs the accesses and digital services and the data mechanism which is used inside the organizations, guys. Okay, so I have portrayed an example here to differentiate each and every term here, to make you understand each and every term, what is the importance of the term here. So there is an employee here. Okay, so there's an employee of an organization. So I'm a Bob. So I'm Bob, and I need an access to the database. Okay, so this is called as identification. So identification means what needs, what access you need, in order to perform your job functions or the responsibilities. Okay, so that is your identification. What access you need. So here Bob needs an access to the database. That is the identification. Okay, so next we have authentication. Okay, so when I say authentication, what is your password? Okay, what is your password? Either your password is alphanumeric, or no, what password policy you are following, and either it is getting authenticated or validated with against the system or not. So generally it will get validated every time when you try to log into the system. So it will get validated in the backend, whether your password is strong password, or no, either it's a no non-alphanumeric password, or maybe just numerics, or just alphabets, or no special, with no special characters. So there should be a standard thing you need to follow when it comes to the authentication, guys. Okay, so that is my authentication. So cross verifying the credentials or validating the credentials, I would say it as an authentication, guys. Okay, authentication. Okay, so next we have authorization. So when I say authorization, so see here, read only access. Okay, so the access to the system. See here, you identified what access you need and you got authenticated to the system, and you have only the read only access. Okay, to the environment. Okay, to the tables. So that is your authorization, guys. Okay, that is the limited access, or what level of access you have inside the inside the application is called as an authorization, or we can call it as an authorization, or a level of access, or what entitled you are when you get an access, what entitled you are to perform, to what level of you know, entitlement you have, what level of permission you have, what kind of operations you could perform inside the organization, inside an application, inside an business application. So that is my read only access. I would say it as a read only, write access, read access. Okay, so those I would say it as an authorization. Okay, what level of access you possess inside the organization. Okay, and accountability. Okay, so now we know what is identification, what is authentication, what is authorization. So now let me say accounting. So accounting in the sense, so what active, what accountability you are performing on the acts, what accountability you are performing on in terms of signing out or signing in, or are you copying something to some environment, or are you manipulating something to the database with the access you are having. So those are all comes under, so it will be captured as an activity or a log in the system. So that would be no that I would say it as a accountability. Okay, so accounting, so you're accountable for your actions, what you perform inside the organization, guys. Okay, so you do proper sign outs, and you see no one knows your password. So basically, you need to follow your ethical, professional ethical behavior, or the integrity towards the activities you perform against the application systems. Okay. So why? Because it may they may capture your activity as a session recording, or maybe a session validation. So those things may happen in the back. Okay. So this is something you have to be aware of, guys. So that is my IAAA. So identification, authentication, authorization, and accounting, guys. Okay. Well, so let me talk about another slide here. So which is SSO part. Okay. So single sign-on part. Okay. So that is my identity, no identity federation. Okay. So I think most of you guys might be aware of no the identity federation methodologies, or no, I would say single sign-on. Okay, so when I say single sign-on, so let me brief you more about this single sign-on. Yeah, single sign-on, guys. Okay, so identity federation, no, it's nothing but putting all together in a single application with a single user access. Okay, so there will be an identity provider and there will be a service provider. Okay, so this service provider, what it does is it will provide the services to the user, like what are the applications it is going to be catered. So those applications will be kept in front of the user, and identity provider may be Active Directory, or maybe an SailPoint identity IQ system. So that is my identity provider, where the data flow will happen from identity provider to my service provider. So when I say service provider, we could call a service provider as an SSO solution, or maybe some kind of SSO tool. So which we popularly, there are some popular tools we have, like Okta identity access management. We have uh, no, ping access management. So there are a lot of SSO solutions, cyber Sentry 5. Okay, so we have Sentry 5 services. Okay, so there are a lot of no SSO solutions available in the market, guys. Okay, so we have Savient SSO solution. Okay, so we have Identity Now. Those are all some of the identity and access management solutions which you can look for. Actually, so how? So in an organization, So how difficult, guys? Okay, so do you think an organization will have 2 3 applications, 2 3 enterprise applications, guys? So if it is a larger organization, how many applications do you think, guys, okay, they will have, as in, services which are providing to the employees? Okay, how many no you could expect, guys? Do you think there will be less no less applications, or do you think more applications? So can you give me any rough number, guys? Anyone here? So how many a bigger organization may have, how many number of applications? That is the business applications.
I'd say minimum between
It
100 to
can be
200.
from somewhere from 30, 30, 50, 100, something like that.
Excellent, Abdul. Yeah. So no, roughly you can expect around 30 to 40, or maybe you can expect around 100 to 150. Okay, so that many applications are there inside the organization, guys. Okay, across the department, across the streams, so these many applications they will be managing. So in order to manage this huge infrastructure, okay, huge enterprise applications and huge identities, okay, so what they do is, so since these many applications, so how difficult is to remember these passwords, guys? Passwords for each application, so it will be very difficult, right? So if you have different username and different password, then I think it's a so there is very difficult situation where to remember the passwords. Okay, and if you forget the password again, you need to reach out to the help desk team, or the or the network team, asking them to reset your password. All those things, you may need to reach out to them. Okay, so remembering the password is a hectic task, okay, with the different usernames and different passwords. So there is a big challenge altogether. So when you have this kind of SSO solutions in place, like the organization has procured this kind of Okta as their opted as Okta as their SSO solution. In that case, what happens, so Okta can be easily integrated with all the business applications, guys. Okay, so it can be easily integrated with all the business applications, and that business applications will be one will be enabled with the SSOs. SSOs. When I say SSO, single credentials across all the applications. Okay, one credentials, one login credentials will allow you to log into all business applications, n number of business applications you may have inside the organization. So it will allow you to log into all this business application with a single credentials, guys. Like on day-to-day basis, today if you see, now we are logging no Gmail, right? So if you have a one valid Gmail account, you can log into Google Drive, you can log into YouTube, or lot of platforms. Okay, Google Calendar, Google Meet. So these are all authenticated against only one email ID, right? So one email ID, one password. So similarly, my identity federation, what happens? So no, it will enables us to have one credentials across all the applications. Yes, okay, so this will and when it comes to the federation, so there's a lot of federation methodologies are available in the market. So where you can do with a SAML based integration or OpenID based integration. So there will be a lot of agents you need to install, and you need to perform those integrations, okay, in order to make it the password synchronized. And you can always do apply a lot of access policies on top of the no, let us take an example Okta platform. So you can do restrict a lot of zone specific accesses, device specific accesses, no, and region based specific accesses can be restricted for the user, guys. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So that's true. I think there's a comment with from Babu Konduri. Yes. So it's implemented for ex-employees whose credentials are known to use them. Immediately can be deactivated. Yeah, so it comes under identity governance and administration. So the activity which you're talking, no, so that falls under your, yeah, it makes sense in the identity governance and administration. Yeah, so it has to be deactivated. All right, so the access needs to be deactivated, guys. Okay, once you leave the organization, so it has to be taken care properly. Yeah. Right. So yeah, so a lot of SSO solutions has this authentication methodologies. That is my authentication factors. Okay. like there are popular authentication methodologies I want to speak. So passwords, passphrases, okay, pin codes, passcodes. So these are all, I would say, these are all something you know already. Okay, so you know your password, you know your passphrase, or you know your pin number. So that is something you already know about it. Okay, so that is no, that is my passwords or passphrases or pin codes, guys. Okay, so next, no, so there is a device you have. Okay, so there is a device we have, so that is something you have. Okay, so there is something you have, so a device in hand. Okay, so something you know, something you have already in hand, that is called as my maybe a USB token, or maybe a RSA token, or a mobile phone. So where you could instantly you receive OTP to your mobile device, and you can just authenticate against that particular OTP or the token. So there are a lot of authenticator platforms, like we have Google Authenticator, we have you know Microsoft Authenticator. So these authenticator platforms will help us in generating the tokens while logging into the sensitive applications or critical applications of the enterprise. Okay, so something you already have. Okay, that is one of the authentication factor, I would say. Okay, next we have something you are already. So something you are already, like it may be a biometrics. So when I say biometrics, maybe a digital signature, or maybe fingerprint. Okay, so whatever the fingerprint no you need to get authenticated against your fingerprints, or maybe face ID. Okay, or maybe eye no retina retina authentication. So there are a lot of biometric authentications are happening recently. So next we are something you do with your location. So maybe a security kind of question. So something you do like what is your pet name, or maybe what is your location, what is your typing speed. No, so those kind of questions. Okay, something you do already know about. Okay, so these are all the authentication factors, I would say. So when I say passwords, as you know already, so it's password. Okay, you need to maintain a strong password with eight minimum characters. Okay, it should be mixed characters with alphanumeric numbers, symbols in it. And then you need to have, okay, guess, you need to have the password guess and use passphrases. You need to store a hints to your password, all of that. So when it comes to the authenticator app, a token based authentication, it's as simple as that. You get a Google authenticator or a RSA token authenticator, which will instantly help you in logging to the critical applications. Okay, so next, the biometrics, as I said, digital signatures, or no face recognition, authentication, okay, face lock. So these things comes under my no, biometrics, guys. Okay, so these are all the authentication factors. Lot of these of SSO solutions offer when you procure those licenses, guys. Okay. So next, let's talk about the next thing here. So that is PAM, privileged access management. So this is a popular term you might have heard. No, privileged access management. Yeah, so I think there is a ping from Syed, which IAM Solutions does Infosys train. Yeah, so we do offer SailPoint Identity IQ. So it's popular IAM solution, SailPoint IAQ. So you may enroll for SailPoint. Yeah, so when you want to look for an IAM. Yeah, well, so let me come back, guys. So this is my privileged access management. Okay, so privileged accounts. Okay, so when I say privileged, so when I say the term privileged, okay, so there are a lot of things comes under the privileged access management. So basically, privileged accounts. Okay, so privileged accounts are administrator accounts. So that is basically non-human accounts. So non-human accounts or the administrator accounts needs to be monitored. Okay, so those falls under my privileged access management. Okay, so credential management. Okay, so basically rotating your password when you want to log into the critical applications of the organization. So maybe payroll system or some kind of critical system where you have all the accesses, critical accesses of the organization. So then I would say it as privileged credential management, guys. Okay, credentials management. Next we have session management. So maybe you are logging to some production server from the backend. Okay, so that should be monitored, or session should be recorded, for our audit purposes. Okay, so if you do something like, try installing some malicious, application or a ransom application in the server, so it has to be captured, and regularly it has to be monitored as part of the session monitoring. So when you log into any enterprise, application servers, so this would applicable, guys. Okay, so there are a lot of tools which are all PAM tools, I would say, like CyberArk. We have Savient PAM. Savient also offers this PAM solution, and there are I think CyberArk is leading the market, guys, right now. Okay, so you can take CyberArk is one of the best, you know, one of the best solutions for session monitoring, session recording, credential management, session management. So I would say these are all more important ones, and the best, best market, best available in the market, guys. Okay, so next we have privileged accounts monitoring and analysis. So again, it comes to the same session monitoring and those things. So basically, these accounts, non-human accounts or the administrator accounts or service account, needs to be closely monitored, and periodically it needs to be analyzed properly. Okay, so there are a lot of access management solutions, so which I was talking about, CyberArk and all of those tools, right? So popular tools. So you can look for these kind of popular tools when you want to pitch into the PAM area. So you have SSO area where you can pitch in. So you have PAM area, so that's privileged account management and all of that. Okay, so next we have application whitelistings. What are the organization applications within the organization you want to whitelist. Okay, so you want to restrict in few regions, or maybe country based restrictions you want to apply. So those software restrictions can also be applied when you procure the PAM solutions. Yeah, so as I was talking about PAM, okay, so let me talk about some key principles. Yeah, so what exactly the privileged accounts and what accounts can be called as a privileged accounts. Okay, so maybe across the permissions, across the applications, databases, and everything. So I'm cumulatively putting all together here. So local admin, so local admin accounts like non-person accounts that provide administrative access, local host instances, those can be called as one of the privileged account. Domain accounts, so domain administrator accounts, you know, so those can be called as my privileged account. So there is something called as emergency admins. So some unprivileged accounts so can be instantly made it as privileged for that point of time in order to overcome some criticalities. So that's a kind of emergency break glass. We can say it as a break glass account as well. Okay, so this kind of break glass account, emergency account, or we can say it as root accounts, that is super admin accounts. I would say the non-human accounts or the system administrator accounts, or the all of those can be called as root accounts, database root accounts, service accounts, application admin accounts, so where with the all highest privileges to the admin accounts. Okay, so using these admin accounts, logging into the session environments, so that is my privileged session management again. So there is a possibility of middleman attack. Yeah, so we have to be very careful while these sessions are happening. So as I said, these service accounts or least privileged accounts or privileged accounts are being used to access the servers. So there is a huge possibility of middleman attack, guys. Okay, so you can always look for this session monitoring tools. Okay, it's to avoid this middleman attack. So we need a proper PAM solutions, okay, which will handle the blockages of uncertified uncertified portals, or maybe unencrypted portals. Okay, so yeah, so mainly we'll talk about the session integrity. Okay, so the main thing is session integrity is important. So like whether it is authentic or not, what destination you are performing, what action you are performing, it is it is meeting the integrity principles or not. Okay, so session integrity principles, session monitoring, what exactly you are performing. Are you stopping some of the services which are all important for an application to get executed. Okay, so that comes under my session monitoring. Session encryption. So as I said, the site we are visiting to, is it truly no, is truly authenticated or encrypted, I would say. Is it a certified one? Okay, so is it a certified, or it is like normal unsecured website? So you have to be checking the green mark in the web browser while you want to check the protected one. So there are a lot of protected, unprotected sites. So, okay, you have to be careful about those things. Okay, so session monitoring comes under those things, guys. Okay, so that's certificates and all of that. So this is my privileged session management. So that's my one of the stream of PAM, that is privileged account management. Yeah. So next, let's come back to the third one for the day. So that is my identity governance and administration. So it's very more important one. So as mentioned in the beginning of the session, so no user access terminations. Okay. So identity governance and administration tools. So there are popular tools like SailPoint is one of the leader in the market, which is like one of the best identity and access management solutions, guys. Okay, the second leader is Savient again, and we have third is IBM ISIM, we have Oracle, we have one identity. So there is a lot of identity and access management, guys. So you can go to the Gartner. So just try to visit the Gartner, and you can see what is the best identity and governance solutions in today's market. So it's all, as I said, SailPoint is leader in the market, and if you try to learn SailPoint, yeah, so that would be best tool, I would say, in the IAM space, in the identity and access management, in the identity governance and administration know, space. So I think you can look for a SailPoint Identity IQ. It's one of the best in the market, guys. Yeah. So what we exactly do when it comes to the identity governance and administration? So user onboarding and user offboarding, or we can say it as terminations. Okay. So whosoever the employee is getting joined the organization, so either he's getting all the birthright accesses. Okay, is he no when he's joining as a developer, or we need to make sure that he get all the developer access on the day one itself. Okay, so that is my onboarding of the application. And the termination, so we are making sure that okay, user is being terminated timely on the last working day. And if he's an ex-employee, his access needs to be disabled timely. On the day one itself, it has to get deactivated or disabled. Okay, so onboarding and offboarding is one of the key areas and the key functionalities of identity and access management, or identity governance and administration tools, what they do functionally and operationally as well. And next we have access request and role changes. So there's another thing called as access request. So you need some additional access. Okay, you need to have a proper no a proper approach. Okay, so you need to have a proper approach where to raise a request for a new additional access. So they should be well trained, I would say. They should know how to submit a request and what is the next steps once you submit the request. Is it approvals are involved? What approvals are involved? Who will approve when? And when can I get the access? So these things comes under your access request, guys. Okay, next we have role changes, maybe internally moving your role changes. That is role based access controls. Okay, so next the access control, who has what access to which resources. Now performing a role based access control. Now access validations and certifications, that is performing a timely audits no in an organization, guys. Okay, so audit is very crucial, guys. Okay, so when some investor needs to come to an organization to invest something in your area, in your company, then they do check your audit. So we call it as access validation or access recertification, or in some tools they call it as access recertification, certification, all of that, guys. Okay, so basically access reviews, that is the automatic audit procedures. So every organization should have some kind of standard automatic audit procedures, which needs to be implemented in an organization. So next we have segregation of duties. So applying some segregation of duty policies. Either if you have A role, then you should not be part of B role. So identifying the toxic combination of access, applying, enforcing the policies. Those things comes under your segregation of duties. So that is basically the policies. Okay, next we have identity auditing and reporting. So there's a lot of analytical stuff happens in the background, like how many people are being onboarded today, how many people are being offboarded, either their access is being properly being disabled or not. So no, it has to be reported, guys. It has to be properly audited and it has to be properly reported as well. Okay. Next we have the life cycle management. So that is identity life cycle management. Again, the entire life cycle, from the starting, from the joiner procedure to the exit procedures, throughout the areas, what throughout the phases of the tenure inside the organization. So what identity and access management things you need to perform. Yeah, so yeah, let me talk about this onboarding and offboarding a bit more. So like when I say onboarding, account creations, access requirements, training requirements. So like if you are a new starter, what to do with this access? What is the confidentiality, integrity, or the data loss you need to follow within the organization. So those things, all those things you need to follow, no you need to do in terms of an organization standard. So they do launch a lot of trainings and to make you understand these policies, security principles. So they do have some internal trainings offered. So those things I mean to say. Okay, next, account termination. So when I say account termination, as soon as user got contract is completed, he has to get deactivated or disabled. And access revocation. So what are the critical accesses he was having? It needs to be, it needs to be deactivated or revocated. Yeah. So next we say asset relocation, asset collection. So upon termination, so we need to collect his laptop or devices, whatever the organization devices you are offering, once the user is being joined. So next we have RBAC. So as I said, role-based access control, guys. Okay. So HR needs to have what access, what no, what are the limitations you need to have? Payroll access, sales team access, finance access. So everything will be like a role based access control. So when you have a proper identity and access management tools in place, so we can achieve this proper RBAC. So an automated access revocations and access terminations, or access giving procedures we can apply inside the organization. Okay. So next, let's see the access management and the identity governance part. So that is comes under the access validation and certification. So if you see here, there is a sales representative. So who has an access to some applications, like he is part of Salesforce application. He is part of some homegrown application tool. He is part of PeopleSoft. Okay, so these many applications he has. So our access management has provided an access to these things. And identity governance, what it does, it do fine ground access validation, guys. Okay, so identity governance means it will go in depth. Okay, it will go to the granular level of accesses. Okay, so when I say identity governance, so it goes to a granular level, like what role, what permission you have inside the organization. So see, or you should be part of APAC, or should be part of America. Okay, so which central, what access you need to have. Okay, so those granular permissions will get evaluated and it will be corrected. Now when I say validation, so it will be corrected, either you need this access or not. Okay, so they will take a decision on your accesses, guys. Okay, this is comes under your access validations and access governance part. Okay, so identity access management, so identity life cycle again. So I would say we have auditing, reporting in place, compliance activities. So auditing, reporting. So provisioning is nothing but creating the user or onboarding the user. So we have compliance, we have auditing, reporting, policies. I was talking about SODs, right? So self-services, raising the request, additional access request, administration things, password expiry notifications, and all password management things and approvals. these things comes under your identity lifecycle, guys. Okay, so let me talk about the last no, for the day. So that is data governance and protection. So I in this there are few things we need to take care here. So few pointers I've mentioned here, like data protection, in the data governance and data protection. So there are some data types, data classifications are there, and there are a lot of industry laws, regulations, unstructured data, structured data. Okay, so data management, data monitoring, security principles, security policies, standards, procedures. Okay, data breach, incident responses. So these will comes under your data protection, guys. Okay, so let me directly go to this terminologies. So some data types, some sensitive data types I have mentioned here. Some no data classifications also I have mentioned here. So like you could say PII. So I would say PII, personally identified information. Okay, so personal information basically. No PII. So next we have PHI, so protected health information, guys. So next we have intellectual property. So there should be a intellectual property. This is a data type. So this is my property. Okay, so that is intellectual property, I would say. So the organizations will have their intellectual properties and all the rights on top of those intellectual properties. Okay, so next the financial things like credit cards or financial statements and everything will come is one of the sensitive, some of the sensitive data types where the organization need to focus on. So next we have the data classifications like public data, okay, public data, protected data, secret, top secret. So this is the confidentiality level of the accesses. So these are all the data classifications, I would say. Official, unofficial, sensitive, all of that. When it comes to the laws, as I said, there are some laws we have like GDPR. Okay, so General Data Protection no regulation. Everyone needs to follow this data protection laws. Okay, any organization needs to follow this one. So next we have HIPAA. So that is Healthcare Information Protection Act. Okay, next we have Australian Cyber Security Center, Australian government commissions. So these are all certain laws and rules and regulations which an organization needs to follow when it comes to the data protection or data protection laws. Okay, so now how I can become an IAM engineer? So now by this time you would have got a question mark. So there are a lot of things are there in the bucket. So data PAM is there, SSO is there, identity governance is there. So now what I could focus. Okay, so where I can spend time and how I can become an IAM engineer is the question. Okay, so the prerequisites to become an IAM engineer is nothing much, guys. So the basic prerequisite is no a bachelor's degree. Okay, you need to have a bachelor's degree in a proper information technology or computer science degree or any of the no valid degree, no a valid country degree you need to have, and you need to have no, 3 to 4, maybe you need to have it's fine that we have 3 to 5 years of experience in any of the alternative technologies or any of the technologies with a corporate experience. That is more than enough. Or maybe no a proper experience you need to have, guys. Okay, corporate experience, I would say. Next having a tool experience, knowledge on SSO products, factor of authentication, privileged access management. So those knowledges you require. Maybe if you have a good hands-on or knowledge on ForgeRock or CyberArk or Okta, Ping Identity, all of that. Maybe having some knowledge coming from the Windows environment or maybe from the administrator Windows administration side or Linux administration side, or maybe one of the programming language knowledge like Python or maybe Java, or some knowledge, tool knowledge. If you are aware, if you have, I think these are more than enough to become an IAM engineer, guys. These are all the qualifications, I would say. Okay, so next, the IAM job duties. So what are the roles and responsibilities you could expect when we have an IAM engineer? So when you become an IAM engineer, what are the roles and what are the roles and responsibilities you may expect, or the day-to-day activities you may expect as an IAM engineer? So develop, implement. So first thing is develop, implement, or maintain the identity and access management solutions. Okay, maybe the administrative part or support part of the engagement. So these things you might need to develop, implement. So maybe you are an implementation engineer, or the support engineer, or maybe a developer or a business analyst. So those things you could expect. Troubleshoot, identify, resolve the technical difficulties of the user, troubleshoot the issues. So those things you may expect. Improve the governance, that is comes under the enhancement, the efficiency of the operations, increasing. Coach the team members, about the knowledge, best practices of rules and regulations, cybersecurity standards. So this could be, you should be a coach, and stay up to date on the cybersecurity threats and industry solutions. Okay, up to date. Those things will help you. So this could be your one of the roles and responsibilities, I would say, guys, when you become an IAM engineer. So what all the available jobs? So there are a lot of available jobs, like with the different job descriptions. So just go ahead to the job portals and type IAM engineer. So just see the suitable job description and try to apply that. So maybe you can search with these terminologies also, like IAM specialist, IAM security specialist, analyst, security engineer, information security engineer, identity and access management engineer, cyber security consultant. Okay, so these things you could always look for, guys. Okay. Well, so that's all, guys, I have for the day. Hope you guys learned, okay, what is IAM, how we can take it forward from here. Okay, so please be on call, guys. I have a few more responsibilities I need to fulfill up, once this thing is completed. So yeah, so any questions? Meanwhile, you can ask me any questions. So have you guys feel, no? Do you think it's valuable? Yep. And there is a training going to be conducted, guys. There is a lot of training. There is a training on IAM, and I would be the trainer. Okay, so I will be helping you out with a lot of IAM lab activities. So whatever we learned, right, IAM, PAM, SSO. So on top of these things, we're gonna perform some lab activities, guys. Okay, in that particular training, we're gonna, do some proper lab activities. Okay, so here we are not, we just learned about the terminologies, but no. So going forward, when you join the IAM training, IAM domain training, so in that training, I will perform each lab activity for each session, guys. Okay. So for PAM, we're gonna have a lab activity. For identity governance, we're gonna have a lab activity. For SSO, we're gonna have a lab activity. So those things we're gonna perform, guys. Please go ahead and click on the link, the feedback link, and please provide your lab valuable feedback for the session, guys. So if you feel valuable, just try to, rate me, and we can take it forward from there. All the very best, guys. Thanks for your participation, and thanks for your valuable time. I believe I have catered as much as information I could provide to you guys, and so please provide your valuable feedback, and then I will be on the call. So any questions you may ask, or maybe you can, go ahead. Yeah. What kind of lab sessions? Yeah, so Sneha, sorry, Surinchi, so what kind of lab is, for a PAM, I'm going to a, identification, identification, authentication, authorization. We're going to install the Active Directory, and we're going to apply a lot of policies. We're going to do a lot of stuff, like create some policies, restrict the user's access. So play around this access, with the AD, get familiarized with the Active Directory. So we're gonna do some lab activity on authentication, authorization, and all of that with the Active Directory. And PAM, some additional policies on the credentials, password policies we're gonna see on the PAM side. And then from the IGA side, from SailPoint, Identity IQ, and all of that, we're gonna. So training would be 30 hours. It would be 30 hours of training. Yeah. So, and when it comes to the Okta, so we're gonna do some Okta stuff, Okta, or maybe some other tool. I'll bring it in to you guys. So we're gonna talk about the Okta thing as well, and we're gonna talk about lot of stuff, guys. Okay, lot of practical things. It will be more fun, more learning. So it will definitely add a value to your resume, add a value to your knowledge as well. Yep. So thank you guys. I think have you guys completed your feedback? How many have you have guys completed? Yep. How many you guys have completed your feedbacks? Yes, guys. Okay. Anyone completed your feedback? Great. Indranil, thank you. Deepika, thank you. Harish, thank you very much. Artisidan, thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Bye. And all the very best for your future endeavors, guys. Manchu. Yeah, you will get the recordings. Yeah. Surinchi, thank you. Siddharth, thank you. Ashish, great. Vijay Bhatt, thank you. Charles, hey man, thank you. Trainer name, please. Yeah, you can just give my Sheikh Haider Ali. I can give my name in the chat. Just specify it. Yeah, Sheikh Haider Ali. You can give that name. Charles. Babu, thank you, Babu. Michele Angelo, Patricia Quirizora. Okay. Is there any certification participation the session? Yes, you get a certification. That's for sure. You get a certification. Rivera, Ricardo, we finished your Sovic. All right. Feedback done. Anushka, thank you. IAM implementation, yes, we do have a training, Anushka. So that is IIQ, SailPoint Identity IQ. So I will be the trainer for that also. So if you are interested, you can register on the portal. So I will be the SailPoint Identity IQ trainer. So I will make you if you are interested in IAM. So SailPoint IIQ is the best tool you can look for. Do you have a? Do you share the presentation slides? Yeah, why not? I can share it. Maybe let me see how we could make it to reach you. So maybe I need to check with the. Yeah.
I can't seem to see the submit button on this thing. Is it because I'm a mobile phone?
Yeah, maybe again. You can try maybe on laptop, so it will help you.
No, okay. So can I do a bit maybe a little later because I'm at the
Yeah,
office at
yeah,
the moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, again, but make sure you save the link. So I'll
Yeah,
recommend
sure.
you to.
I've saved it actually, my brother. I have a bit of question on your program, right? For
Yeah, tell
someone
me again.
going into someone going into GRC, because I've done I'm actually leaning towards GRC. Um, what aspect of this IAM will be beneficial?
So what is your background, Argenton?
Yeah,
Can you tell
governance, risk, and compliance.
governance and compliance? Okay,
Yeah,
then you can become a security engineer. You can become a cyber security engineer or a CISO, like information security officer. So
officer.
that
Yeah,
kind of those kind of role you can look for. And what is your overall experience?
yeah.
Overall experience. What is your total experience, year of experience you have in the
In IT generally, or just in infosec, you mean?
total? You could include both.
Oh, so say 8 9 years.
9 years. Yeah, I think you are good to become a security officer, information security officer. So you can become some certifications you need to do in order to achieve that. So try to do some identity certification. Maybe some you can aim for some certification, and or if you want to come to the identity governance space, then SailPoint identity governance and administration, the user access management. So then you can even plan for if you are from kind of Java background or some kind of uh, coding background, then I would suggest SailPoint is the best tool for you. You can aim for
Sale
SailPoint.
points. Sale
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
yeah. That is the best tool, I would say. And if you
Okay.
want to maybe kind of non-coding role, then even SailPoint is also good in the non-coding role aspect. So maybe you can become the auditor or that kind of
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll look up the module on your website. Let me see. Let's see what comes up. Yeah.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank you, guys. I think you guys have submitted your feedbacks. Is that submitted? All right. So most of you guys have confirmed, right? Thank you. Thanks, guys. Charles. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice day. Have a happy weekend. Bye bye. Take care.